What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Got a little update video for you. I'm in the garage solo this evening, so doing the camera by myself, but wanted to give you guys an update. We've been at a little bit of a delay due to weather. Not much progress has been made since the last video because we got snow about 2 weeks ago, and every day up until today and yesterday, the temperatures have been freezing pretty much. So the snow isn't gone 2 weeks later. Here in Maryland, we get snow usually about every winter, but I can't remember the last time that it snowed and it just never went away because the temps consistently stayed cold after it snowed. And then it iced and everything got frozen, and it's just been a mess. But 2 weeks later, and we still have snow on the ground. But today and yesterday, it's been about 40, 50 degrees, so it's finally starting to melt. So decided to come out here and get an update. We have been out here a few times since the last video, and I do have some new things for the shop that I'm going to show you guys. And then we plan to make some progress here tonight. So since the last video, the car hasn't been touched, but I was able to get a welder. Not really in the plans. Well, actually, I showed a welder that I had originally that I got off TikTok for like $100. And the more and more I thought about it, I didn't want to risk that thing just being a piece of junk and potentially messing up the job because we're trying to use some junk. So I was doing a little bit of Facebook marketplace hunting, and I found someone local to me that had a TIG, a Vulcan TIG from Harbor Freight, Pro TIG. They were literally in like 10 minutes from me in the same area as me. And he was interested in trading some stuff for it. I had some new stuff laying around that would work for him. And we ended up making a fair trade. Didn't have to come out of pocket for anything. And he was able to get some new nice stuff, and I was able to get something that I need. So I'm going to show you that. And then we were able to put a parts washer together that I got for Christmas from my father to be able to help clean some parts up too. So, one of them things that like a welder, a parts cleaner, an air compressor, it's kind of like all things you buy for a shop and then you don't really use it and it kind of sit around. So I've had a welder before and got rid of it. I've had an air compressor for the whole time now and barely ever use it other than like fill tires on the trailer or something. So I've avoided a parts washer for a while, and then I realized with all this stuff coming off this time, oiled up, greasy, we made some crankcase pressure and oil kind of went everywhere. So now it made sense to finally put the parts washer together. And then the welder, I feel like I talked about in other videos, watching Jay and other guys that know how to weld and how quick they can whip stuff up on their car and fab stuff up, and just being a race car driver, owner, whatever, if you can weld also, it just makes life 100 times better and easier. So both of them were needed, and I'm glad that we have them now. So let me show you. All right, so here's a little welding setup. We whipped this up pretty quick. From not having nothing to having all this, it's pretty cool. Thanks to my buddy Jack for coming over, helping me get all this stuff together and already starting to roll some beads. So here's the Vulcan TIG welder. It's a Pro TIG 165. I think now Harbor Freight has superseded this for like the Pro TIG 205. But this thing, from what I'm told, can do the job, and, was always kind of the go-to TIG welder before they obviously came out with newer, improved, larger stuff. So I've read a bunch of good reviews on it, and I'm happy that we picked one up. Also picked up one of the electric tungsten grinders, which any video that I watched always talked about, if you're going to TIG weld, make sure your tungsten is sharp. And, as you're learning, you're going to be burning up a lot of it, or a lot of them. So got one of them, got some extra tips and cups and stuff like that. Got some Scotch pads, welding blankets, some acetone. Picked up some helmets, still putting this one together, just purchased that one. And then we ended up getting a Harbor Freight welding table too. So this is a pretty nice piece for 180 bucks. I looked around and read some reviews, and everybody said that for what you get with this, with all the accessories, this was a pretty good thing to have. So yeah, I mean, we went from not having anything at all to having a pretty cool TIG setup. Got a bottle here for my buddy Jack as well, 100% Oregon. Got the foot pedal with it. So, you know, I played around a little bit so far. Getting a little hot there, burning through some stuff. Did a decent one here. Absolute disaster here when I first started. And then I decided to just lay some stuff on some flat metal. And then I bought some cubes and stuff here to practice on, which I'll be trying to do tonight. So here's the welder setup. If you guys have any questions, say it in the comments. Again, I had to buy the table, didn't have to buy the welder, had to buy the grinder, bought the helmet, bought some gloves, but Facebook Marketplace really held it down for once, as much as I'm not a fan of that thing. You know, getting this welder local to me in a trade for some stuff with a pedal, a torch, a regulator, and all the stuff I need, pretty cool. So we got a new radiator here. We're going to be welding some bungs and stuff on too. The to-do list for welding just keeps on getting longer and longer. So it was only a matter of time before I just tried to learn it or needed to learn it. And then we got the parts washer, also Harbor Freight. We've already cleaned some stuff up in it. Pretty cool. Got some cleaner. I'm going to move it over to the other side of the shop. We just put it together here now to be under the light and have an outlet and stuff here. So parts washer and a welder and a new radiator is what we got so far. So tonight we might practice and try to tack some stuff up. Just all really depends on how comfortable I feel until I start making some progress on the car itself. Every video that I've watched has said practice, 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 and just sit out here and burn it a bunch and weld it a bunch and until you're comfortable, until you get good. So I also ordered some brackets and some gussets and stuff for some extra support. But yeah, I'll check back in and make a new clip here in a few. I'm going to get some things set up, get some music going, and maybe I'll try to I'll try to video me rolling some wannabe dimes. All right, so I'm all set up now. Going to try to do a little something here. Won't video too much or make it real long, but again, I've only touched this torch and had it set up and pressed the pedal one time, one night so far. Well, you know, one night a bunch of times, but this is literally my second time ever trying it. So I will say that if it gets to a point of me being comfortable enough, I'm going to do something super crazy and cut the floor out of it and try to do my own 25-3 in it. I think ultimately that's what's motivating me so much, is to be able to do things like that on my own. For now, with the tube front and all the stuff that I need welded, my buddy Mike that welds for a living is going to help me do that stuff, considering the tube front needs to be pretty. Everybody sees it with the hood off or at the track. So definitely don't want to attempt that myself yet due to timing. I can't sit out here for the next couple weeks or months and learn this stuff and then do it. So he's going to help me with that. But mark my words, if once that's done and I get some more practice, depending on how rule sets go for World Cup, now that MIR's a NHRA track, you know, this thing might not be legal cage-wise, and I might need to do a 25-3 before World Cup. And if that's the case, I'm buying the Moore kit, and I'm going to do it myself. So that's the vision. So let's see what can happen. I feel like I got my settings right. Regulator, everything's good. I should probably sharpen that a little bit. Not coming out for some reason. There it is. All right, hang tight. Should have did this before I pressed record, but sorry, I forgot I was wearing the mic and might be a little loud. This tool is definitely pretty badass for someone like myself who needs it done. Hopefully this thing's still recording. Yep. Don't know if you can see that, but pretty sharp, pretty perfect. The camera right now is on a face tracking thing, so hopefully it's at the right angle. I really have no clue of the perfect amount, but we're going to go with this. All right, so I have 2 halves of this little cube thing. I'm going to try to tack 4 corners and then try to do the seams. So from what I know, to tack it, you kind of turn up the heat and slam the pedal and let it sit there for a second. So we'll turn it up a little bit. These are kind of already out of shape. A little bit harder than I wish it was. Okay. All right. Okay. Not bad. 2 tacks, 2 successful. Pretty sad that I'd be happy about doing something so stupid like a tack weld. All right. Holding this all goofy, but really don't know how to hold it yet. Okay, another tack. I always forget to press the pedal. So I think that is a little bit too big of a gap, so try to hold it. All right. So, hopefully still recording. Two tacks on the corner. 2 tacks on this corner. This is something that I was trying just to see if I had the setting right before I pressed record, so I wasn't completely out to lunch. But I'm going to scuff this and then try to make sure that there's no gap right there. Then I'm going to try to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh man. Looked like that camera was just acting goofy. New respect understood now for welders. Not that I didn't respect them before, but couldn't imagine laying up underneath of a dashboard doing some kind of crazy tight weld with the pedal in between your legs and shit that you see online or Facebook, whatever. All right, that looks pretty good as far as no gap on that. So I'm going to put this back down to my trusty settings, which I was told should be like 75, 80. And still sharp. All right, now every video I see on YouTube was like, you got to get comfortable, got to be comfortable, use your forearms, don't slide your hands, all kind of shit, but I don't think we're to that point yet. I don't know, holding it like a pencil, I guess. It's this cord and the weight of the cord and the flexibility of it is what really feels weird. Okay. So I did like two different sections. Stopped in the middle because the middle has, well, that one doesn't have it. The two corners that I welded together had like a little piece of adjoining metal that made it a corner. So that was that little spot I stopped in because there was a little piece of metal right there. So started there, rolled it down, started again, rolled it out. I know this is considered like cold rolled or cold something. Um, the first one looks a little bit better. Damn, I hope you can see. First one looks a little bit better. Second one looks like it's kind of getting too warm and like melting it, I guess. So let me try to turn it down a little bit. Once I'm done, maybe it'd be better for me to do all of it and then pick up the camera and show. So let's go down like 5. Tip's not tore up. I still really don't know what to do to get comfortable. I'm bringing it towards me. I guess you do sideways. Guess I'll try sideways. That's messing me up. So let me go back to. So I think I started a little bit early. Now the cube's wobbling on me. All right, that heat looks a little bit better. I thought I moved too quick, but got a hole in the start, so maybe I took too long to move. Don't know. All right, let's try this one. All right, so I have a little bit of a gap that I think is messing me up. Yeah. All right. All right, one more little section. This thing is fucking hot. So that was weird. It really wasn't. Maybe I was moving too quick. Yeah. Hmm. Started good, ended bad. How's that make sense? I guess let me stop the tape real quick and I'll show you. All right, so let's check out what we got. So, make sure it's clear. So this is the first one that I kind of started on to see the settings and stuff. Really kind of did this before I even started recording. Then I did this side. This is one of the ones I did all the way straight through because it didn't have that little middle bump in it where I had to stop and start again. Doesn't look too bad, I guess. This is one where I had to start and stop just because of the way that the cube was made. So I did this first section, stop, did it again. Looks like it got a little bit hot at the end. This might be the best one, which I think was the second one I did. Started a little bit too much here and kept it there a little bit too long. But then this, to me, for the second time ever trying it, looks decent. On the inside, looks okay too. So, don't know how. Started here, went to there, went to there, went to there. I like this one. So, I don't know. I mean, came a long way from that day one to that day two. Give me about 37 more days and I'll be an expert. No, I'm just kidding. But just takes time, I guess. Just takes time and patience and trying to get a race car done and go racing, and tracks open next month. Time and patience I don't have too much of. So we'll see. Next few days before the weekend, the goal is by Sunday night, end of the day Sunday, to have some stuff tacked up on this. I have to prep and scuff and sand all the paint here, obviously. I'll scuff and acetone these. This. So that's a decent bit of work. A little bit of a mess, a little bit time consuming, pain in the butt, but I'm going to work on this the next few days, maybe do a time lapse of me doing it, maybe some in between, get a little bit more practicing in, and then Saturday night and Sunday night, try to at least get some stuff tacked up. So thanks for tuning in. It turned out to be a little bit longer than I expected. I didn't think that little section of video that I recorded of me welding was 20 some minutes, but turned out it was 20 some minutes. So this video was ideally a little bit longer than I wanted, but I don't know. It's something to go up. This is the third video of 2026, and we're only a month and a half in. I think this is probably 3 videos in a month and a half is more than I've ever done, and it's more than I did all in 2025. So we're off to a decent start, I guess, for uploads and some footage. If I can keep this pace going, hopefully you guys will stay tuned, get some more likes and comments and some more subscribers, and we'll have a good year, 2026, of uploading some videos. So again, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.